Imagine renting a private cabin in the mountains because you need a few days alone, only to realize you were never alone to begin with. Tonight's story was sent in by someone named Ryan, and out of all the Airbnb stories I've read, this one felt disturbingly possible. Ryan was 28 and living in Chicago when this happened. He'd gone through a breakup a few months earlier and had been buried in work ever since. Long hours, little sleep, same routine every day. He wanted to disappear for a weekend, not forever, just long enough to breathe again. So he booked a small cabin through Airbnb in western North Carolina, outside Boone. The listing had solid reviews. Nothing suspicious. People called it peaceful, quiet, perfect for a reset. The photos showed a modern cedar cabin in the woods with large windows, a fireplace, and no nearby neighbors. It was exactly what Ryan wanted. The host's name was listed as Greg. Check-in was self-service using a keypad on the front door. Ryan arrived just after sunset on a Thursday. The road up to the property was narrow and winding. No streetlights, no other houses in sight for the last 10 minutes of the drive. When he reached the cabin, the porch light turned on automatically. He entered the code. The door unlocked. Inside was clean, warm, and quiet. A little too quiet, according to Ryan. He told me the place looked exactly like the listing photos, but it felt strange in a way he couldn't explain, like walking into a room someone had just stepped out of. He laughed it off. He unpacked, made dinner, watched a movie, and went to bed early. Nothing happened that first night. The second day was when the small things started. Ryan left his phone charger plugged into an outlet beside the couch before going out for a hike. When he returned that afternoon, it was neatly wrapped and placed on the kitchen counter. He knew he hadn't done that. There was nobody else staying there. He messaged the host to ask if someone had entered for maintenance. The host replied 20 minutes later. No one has access during guest stays. Ryan told himself he probably moved it and forgot. That night he noticed another detail. The thermostat had been raised 3 degrees. Again, he assumed he must have bumped it. But he didn't remember touching it. Just enough to tell him it wasn't fixed in place as firmly as it should have been. Ryan said that was the first moment he felt real fear, because the mirror was heavy, and someone had moved it recently. He stood there for a minute debating whether he was overreacting. Then he pulled it forward. Behind it was a narrow, unfinished opening between the walls, maybe 2 feet wide, dark. At first he thought it was maintenance access. Then his eyes adjusted. There was a folding chair inside, facing a vent cut into the wall toward the bedroom. There were empty water bottles on the floor, snack wrappers, a power strip, and a phone charger plugged into an extension cord. Ryan backed away immediately. He called out into the cabin. No answer. He grabbed his keys and phone and went straight for the front door. The keypad flashed red, the handle wouldn't turn. He tried again. Nothing. Then he heard movement. Not from outside. From inside the wall. A scraping sound. Slow. Close. Ryan said every rational thought disappeared at once. He ran to the back of the cabin where sliding glass doors led to a deck. They were locked too. He grabbed a metal fireplace tool from beside the hearth and hit the glass near the latch. It cracked on the second swing. Shattered on the third. He climbed through, cut his hand on broken glass, and ran to his car. He didn't stop until he reached a gas station 20 minutes down the mountain road. He called police there. Officers searched the cabin that night. They found the hidden access space behind the mirror, connected to a narrow storage corridor running beside the bedroom wall. It led to a locked exterior utility entrance on the side of the house. Inside were basic supplies, batteries, bottled water, and signs someone had spent time there recently. No one was found on the property. The host account was removed 2 days later. Ryan later learned the cabin had changed owners the previous year, but the Airbnb listing history had been transferred and partially reused. Police believed someone with old access to the property may have been entering between guests. They never confirmed who. Ryan asked for one final thing before he agreed to share the story. He wanted me to mention what bothered him most. It wasn't the hidden space. It wasn't the chair. It wasn't even realizing someone may have been inside while he slept. It was this. The charger found plugged into the extension cord inside the wall was his. The one he left beside the couch. If you ever stay somewhere unfamiliar, trust that feeling when something small seems off. Sometimes the smallest things are the warning. I'm your host. This has been The Deadly Talk.